Okay, so this is actually going to be an audio, not a video. I'm working, dumping water out of my soak tray, and I'm going to be going back into my barn. So you're going to get put in my pocket now. I just wanted you to know that if you're not having a problem with your video quality, you're not going to be having video quality. Okay? Okay. So I wanted to talk about something that I was approached about working with a young horse, and an uneducated yearling, and I was told in this inquiry that the horse was coming to stay with them, but was going to split time between them and another training facility, and I was asked to be a part of this education, and immediately I was excited because I love babies, right? And then after a week of thought, I reapproached them and said, listen, I love this idea of working with the baby. However, I don't do this for money. I do this for the horse. And I think split time between two trainers that don't even know each other, let alone their techniques or anything like that, would be not fair to the horse. So, I would rather, kind of step out of that picture so that the horse gets a solid, consistent education instead of okay, I have to do things like this for this lady, and then I have to do things like this for this lady. And also, I wouldn't want to be in a situation where it's believed that the horse doesn't know anything because techniques are so different. And I'm going to tell you an example, and I'm so glad I have this example, is I was at another farm doing something with one horse. And after a session was over with that horse, I was told or asked to look at another horse. I was said, hey, we've got this other horse. Can you just take a look at him? We've had him for a couple of years, and we just can't get him to lunge. So they told me kind of what was happening or whatever. And then they also told me that they got him from a very well-known natural horsemanship trainer. And I was like, and he won't lunge? That just blew my mind. This horse should certainly be trained to lunge. So I asked them to show me what happens. Go ahead and show me trying to lunge him. And conventional lunging is you chase the hindquarters, right? You chase them from behind. Well, a natural horsemanship trained horse is strongly advised to yield their hind end away whenever something's putting pressure on, like a point of hip. So what this horse was doing was apprehensively half passing. Well, not half passing, more side passing because he wasn't coming forward, but staying on an arc on the circle. So his front feet were more inside the circle, his hind feet were dragging behind, so the horse was not going out on the circle. The horse was basically side passing the circle. And it was said to me that no matter what we do, okay, this is a quote, no matter what we do, we can't get him to understand we want him to lunge. Now, here's the thing with the no matter what we do part. Hold on, I think this fan interferes. Here's the thing with the no matter what we do part. That means that what you have been doing has not been consistent. Therefore, he has no chance of learning your accent. So I consider different training methods, different training techniques, different approaches, like even from handler to handler, are accents. Everybody has their own accent, right? And your horse can learn your accent as long as your accent's consistent and consistently different, but yet consistent in its definition, okay? So your horse can't learn from you if you try it a way that you think makes sense to the horse and you find it doesn't make sense to the horse, So then you try a different way. And you think maybe that'll make sense to the horse, but it doesn't make sense to the horse. So then you try a different way. What happens is, whatever you give up on, wherever you give up. So you've been trying to ask for this, the horse doesn't respond. You give up, you readjust, and you try another plan. Whatever you just gave up on, whether it's the horse just standing there looking at you, or the horse running sideways around on a circle, whatever you gave up on is what you told the horse is the answer. Okay? The release is what teaches. It's a quote you need to have in your head forever and ever and ever. So whatever you gave up on, wherever you gave up, that's what you just taught your horse. Okay? So right off the bat, I know that this horse is not experiencing any kind of consistency in his expectation to learn their accent. So, knowing the background this horse has, I have a pretty good idea how this horse communicates. So I, then took the horse and I asked the horse to do a few things that I was pretty certain it was going to know how to do based on body language. And the horse kind of said, "Oh, yeah, I know that." And I said, "Well, how about we try just going out on a circle then?" And the horse walk, trot, canter, trot, walk, stop, look at me. And, the owner, actually plural, the owners were standing there in not disbelief and not awe, that's not the way to put it, but, in kind of like, wait a minute, how did you just do that? So having that example of a horse who's been maybe confused for a long time, and possibly, these are wonderful people, they wouldn't be aggressive towards the horse in any way. I'm not saying there's even a hint of a harsh handling or anything like that. But what I'm saying is the horse feels frustration. If somebody was trying to make something happen that wasn't happening and there was a level of frustration, that still could be considered, a bad relationship with that horse. Okay. So, my point in that is, and I'm starting to say a lot. My point in that is, I would never want to knowingly produce a horse that's going to split time. I could produce a horse, like any of my horses, if I had to rehome any of my horses, I would have to spend time with people to say, look, this is how we do this. This is how he knows this, or this is how she knows this. This is the education you need to now have. This is the accent you need to now speak with. And you can transition her or him to do whatever it is that you want done a different way or whatever, with a different accent. That's fine. But at least know how to communicate before, making them wrong for not communicating or understanding your communication. So when I have that example of this is a horse who really wanted to do what was being asked of him, he just didn't know what was being asked of him because it's so different from what he's used to being asked of, So I basically bowed out and said, look, I'm not in this for money. I'm in this for the horse. And if I'm going to be contributing to a horse's confusion, I don't want any part of it. And it wasn't to be like, either I train her or someone else does. Either I train her completely or we're out. Because I'm not going to be the one that teaches this horse its career. I'm not going to be the one that teaches this horse its, undersaddled job. But for the first 2.5 years of her life, I am potentially going to be able to be the one that teaches her how to get along in the world, So anyway, it's important when choosing, not choosing a trainer, but when choosing training methods that you believe either they're all under the same, cover, meaning we all do it the same way, or choose one, that got a little more in depth than I wanted it to, because that's not really what I was getting at. I was just saying that, like, I have an example of a horse that was trained with one accent, and the people who now owned the horse were trying a different accent without consistency, lacking consistency. We all have a tendency to try to, to excuse the lack of performance with, oh, they must not really understand, so let me try it this way. Oh, you must not understand that, so let me try it this way. Well, it's trying it this way over and over again, different ways. You're not being consistent, therefore the horse has no chance of learning your accent. So that was it. I just wanted to say, like, if you feel like you've gotten a horse that doesn't know something, it's possible that it's been trained differently than you know. And you might have to find a way to adapt that horse to your accent. And as long as you're consistent and the horse does have some kind of background, it's going to click. And the horse is going to go, oh, yeah, it doesn't sound the same way, but I understand what you want. So, yeah, we're cool. You want the horse to be cool with you. We're cool. I could do it that way. I could respond to that. Okay, so that was my example of knowing that sometimes a horse is educated. It just was trained with a different accent.